Hi learners, in this online session, we'll be discussing PR tools for external publics. You must have observed that how government's policies like demonetization, GST and taxes on mutual fund gains, it has affected the business all over India. Reports on presence of pesticides in soft drinks affected the sales of cola companies. Presence of chemicals in noodles affected availability of your favorite brands of noodles in market. Any external organization that affects any public directly or indirectly is known as external public. It may include customers or consumers, government, mass media, non-government organizations, pressure groups, financial institutions, and regulatory bodies. For any organization, external public is very important. To have effective communication with external publics, few tools and techniques can be used by corporate houses and government. Most important tool for external public is press release. I would say this is the most used and most abused tool of communication for external public. So first of all, we need to understand what is a press release. A press release is a form of written communication with short and attention-seeking headline to be delivered to the media houses for publication. Earlier, when print media was the only media available for readers, this term was used. But now, we may have audio release, video release, or media release. Written in an inverted pyramid format answering 5 W's and 1 H, the release gives some specific information about the organization. While writing a release, you need to understand the person who is not well versed with the language of news writing, it may kill the important information. Thus, a PR practitioner must know how to write a good release and that gets a good space in media. So, according to the requirement of news organization, a standard format should be followed to get the publicity from press release. If you understand the format, it helps a journalist to publish it the way you want to get it published. Generally, a press release consists of 4 to 5 paragraphs with word limit ranging to 500 to 800. So the structural elements of good press release that you need to understand are headline. A headline is a meaningful and catchy phrase which grabs the attention of journalists. If the headline is not interesting, journalists are not going to read it. Second thing is dateline that we write for news story also. It should contain the release date and usually the originating city of the information. You want to share to the press, you can write it. If you don't want to get your news to be published immediately, you should write the date on which you want to get news published. The journalists understand the sender is requesting a news embargo. The next important element is introduction. Like news story, first paragraph of the press release should answer to the questions of who, what, when, where, why and how. And you should know the most important information should be included in the introduction. All the different types of introductions can be used to write a press release, but you must have understood that while studying news story. Second thing that is important part of news story or press release is body. Body of the press release carries all the information related to event, explaining the issue, relevant statistics and background of the issue. That should be written in consecutive paragraphs. So like news story, a press release is also having body. Then you use boilerplate in the press release. It's an important part of release which generally talks about section. It talks about independent background on the issuing company, organization or individual who is releasing that story. Then closing. Closing is important aspect as all of you know that news agencies they traditionally use the symbol 30 that appears at the end of the boilerplate or the body. But nowadays without 30 also you can write it. The style has changed, but nowadays you can use 3 times hash. This symbol also indicates that the release has been ended. Next important part that generally PROs forget to write is the contact information. After ending the press release, name, phone number, email address or mailing address or the contact information of PRO should be mentioned. In case news organizations seek any clarification or any other fact they want to know, they might be able to contact the authorized person. So while writing press release, we need to understand various types of press release also that can be used by public relations officers in various media organizations. One are the general news releases, the most commonly type of news release. These are meant for ordinary readers. This is issued when an organization needs to get coverage and exposure. For example, a general news release might be used if a company runs a contest, wins any award, or has some other general news about the company, organization, person, or website. Then there are launch releases. When an organization is launching a news product or service to create buzz in target publics, it issues a news or press or media release. Its format is like general news release, but its news value is unique and carries urgency or timelines. When Apple is about to launch a new iPhone, there is always buzz in the market, and that excitement is created through news items in the newspapers and news bulletins in electronic media. Same way, government ministries, they also send launch releases to the media organizations while releasing a new policy. The next type of press release are product press releases. Product press release is different from launch release, as when product wins awards, sales increase, or defective product is found, then they want to rectify it, or new features are added in existing product, then product release is sent. For example, if Maruti Suzuki is launching any new version of say Swift car, it will send the product press release to newspaper describing the product features in it. Then there are announcement release. Any organization which issues an announcement press release when it wants to make an announcement regarding more recruitment or any welfare scheme, change of CEO or MD. When government announces a new scheme, there is reshuffling of ministries or say senior level bureaucrats, it issues announcement press release, generally with a photo. For example, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme from Panipat, Haryana, it got front page coverage with Prime Minister's photo in all the newspapers. Then there are event press release. Pre-event press release answers who, what, when, where and why. In introduction, sans photographs. Sans means without photographs. And if the release is issued post-event, it carries photographs with important highlights of the event. Before Independence Day, celebrations related news are published without photographs, whereas post-independent news carry big size photographs of rehearsals and of the event in the newspapers. Second most used tool to maintain media relations is press conference. There are many ways to develop media relations, and press conferences is a technique that is used to get media coverage for your organization on special occasions. Organizing a press conference involves expenses, efforts and planning. But before organizing a press conference, a peer practitioner needs to ask management about the kind of coverage, headlines and photographs do they expect. What kind of coverage a press conference may generate. If it is worth spending the money and efforts on press conferences, only then it should be organized. Otherwise, a press release can serve the purpose. But then there are a few things which should be kept in mind before organizing a press conference. The information you want to share during conference should have high news value, as mere having good relations with media can't generate coverage. You may make an announcement regarding product launch, expansion, merger, acquisition, or change in leadership. The message you want to convey your target audience must be well defined to draw media attention. You should be aware of other events which are being held in the city. Your conference date shouldn't clash with any other important event. While deciding the timing for conference, you should be aware of schedule of the deadlines to be followed by media houses and the location for press conference. It should be easily accessible. If that is not possible, you must arrange transportation facilities for media persons. The venue's size should be good enough to accommodate all the participants. It should neither be too large or too small. Spokesperson addressing the media gathering should be articulate enough to answer tricky questions which may be asked by media persons. So, a dress rehearsal with probable questions may help the spokesperson during actual conference. Media persons need to be contacted well in advance so that they may schedule their other assignments accordingly. Conferences invites may be sent via mail or through telephones. The invitation should be small with complete information of date, time and venue. At the time of planning, a press kit should be developed which should contain notepad, pen and information about the agenda to be discussed in conference. A few pics and clippings of previous media coverage, these should be included. Besides, if it is a product launch conference, a gift should be handed over to journalists before they leave the venue. Once the conference is over, peer practitioners should follow up with media persons to know their views about the conference and the extra information if they need. So, press conference is a tool equally used by government and corporate houses. Political leaders also use it to announce a new scheme or at the time of crisis in their political lives. Another tool to maintain media relations is press briefing. At times, corporate houses or ministries, they don't have time to make elaborate arrangements for press conference. In such cases, a few press people may be invited. They are briefed about the issue or that idea. There are no question answers or sessions like press conferences, but a brief note is handed over to press along with oral message from the spokesperson. Then another familiar term that we use for media relations, it's also an important tool, that is press meets. Press meet is comparatively an informal and shorter interaction with the press as compared to the press conference. Numbers of people invited for the occasion are less in number. An important technique used by ministries and government officials to have informal discussion with press people. Exclusive interviews can be arranged with top management of the organizations or ministers, and these may be published or broadcast later on. Then another important tool of media relations, because media is the most important external public for any organization, it is luncheons. At time when you don't have any big news to share with the press, but to rejuvenate and maintain your relations, you can invite press people for midday meal. This is a technique to maintain relations with the press and formal interactions with the top management. Luncheons may be used as an occasion to celebrate success of an important event, or companies may organize. They may use such occasions to raise funds for an important cause. Another tool to develop relations with press is press tours. Press tours are organized when you want to give some detailed information of your products or services. When you are launching a new product or service, you may invite press people to observe your manufacturing unit or experience new service launched by your company. Suppose you have launched a new route for your airlines. You can invite press people to travel in your airlines, particularly on new route. Once the tour is over, media persons can share their experiences with the target audience. One important thing that needs to be kept in mind while organizing press tour, it is an expensive technique of media coverage. If you are unable to keep press people in good humor, your organization can't generate good coverage. The efforts put on the tour might get wasted in that case. It needs a lot of planning and resources to organize a press tour. A successful press tour stages the positioning of your brand for your consumers. For example, Patanjali organized a press tour when its products were allegedly found contaminated. NDTV's reporter Sharad Sharma visited Patanjali Township for half an hour. Coverage was telecast on NDTV India regarding process of manufacturing and quality of Patanjali products. Then another important tool that can be used for external publics is printed literature. Printed literature may be in the form of brochures, flyers, or pamphlets. To promote an NGO or organization, products or services, printed literature is designed. And now, if I talk about brochure may be single fold, double fold, or multi-fold, and it is printed on good quality paper or glossy paper. This is an informational piece that can be used as supplement or as stand-alone material. It may give description of an event, service, product line, or previous activities of the organization. Whereas flyer is comparatively low budget promotional paper. It is generally not folded for a particular product or service. It contains a short and simple message with big visuals to make it attractive and understandable. Generally printed on one side of the paper, flyer is distributed by hand or kept in newspaper copies for distribution. As it has low shelf life, it is printed on low quality paper, which makes it a cheaper option of publicity. Another important tool that organizations use to communicate to external publics are annual reports. Annual reports are the detailed reports of companies' activities of previous year. To share the important activities with shareholders and other significant publics, annual reports are considered as most important tool of public relations. It includes important activities of financial performance, corporate and responsibility activities, and other notable achievements of the companies and its employees. Annual report is a means of formal communication. This report's designing and layout has to be very formal and attractive. Essential content of the annual report should be a brief message by CEO or chairman of the company, financial performance, and charts and graphs to make data understandable. Another important tool is special events. The purpose of special events is to promote a cause or idea that is considered as important for target publics. Through an event, organization seeks publicity which conveys a crystal clear message to the audience. The events may be religious, cultural, celebrity nights, conference, seminars, or concerts, depending upon the purpose, type of publics to be targeted, and budget. Public Relations Department of any corporate house organizes the special events. For example, Coke Studio organizes its concert for general public in various cities. Special events like this remains in memory lane for its customers for long period of time. Along with melodious music, target publics get to listen and see their favorite singers and musicians, and free products of Coca-Cola are icing on the cake. Another tool that organizations may use to communicate to external publics is open days. Open days, you must be knowing that sometimes educational institutions organize a day or two in an year for the general public to access first-hand information about the organization. It is organized for those people who can't access the college or university on normal days. First Open Day was organized in France, which spread to the other European, American, and Asian countries later on. Open Day is a technique of two-way communication which helps in creating a mutual understanding between the organization and potential customers, because this is a situation of face-to-face communication. This communication remains in the memories of the target audience for longer period of time. Another important tool of communication to the external public is exhibition. Exhibition you must have visited a number of times in your cities. The exhibition may be of paintings, or it may be for photographs, or you may buy some sort of products there. So exhibition is a tool to display a work of art or show of many items at a public place like art gallery, museum, library, or any open ground. It may be a large event like international exhibition or display of solo paintings by any artist. Exhibitions may be used as a tool to create awareness, maintain reputation, or sell products of your company. I think all of you must remember book fair. Book fair is a sort of exhibition and selling point where visitors can go, they can check out books and buy from there, and publishers, they also get an opportunity to showcase their books in that fair. Another important tool of communication to the external public is corporate advertising. Corporate advertising is a kind of advertising that creates image of corporate house as a whole rather than products or services or ideas. It's not about products or services. It may advocate an issue which creates goodwill of the corporate house. For example, Ariel Share the Load campaign is a situation of daughter and father who observes the unequal share of domestic jobs. It talks about the professional woman who keeps on doing household chores and dependent father who never shared the household responsibilities. Another important tool in modern communication scenario with external public is social media networking website. Man is a social animal, and it's more so in recent era of social networking websites where you can not only talk to others but you can see them without being physically present in front of each other. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, WeChat, Twitter, and WhatsApp are a few social media platforms where you can publicize your products, services, ideas, programs, and policies in seconds without involving major costs. You don't need to book a space like advertising. No, you are living on the whims and fancies of the journalists. Smartphones have made these social network websites so popular that there are 270 million users of Facebook in India. To create goodwill with the external publics, social networking websites have become a cheaper and cost-effective tool of public relations. Then another tool of communication to the external public is website. Nowadays, whenever you want to know about any organization, you surf the internet and visit its website. Website has become an important tool to inform target publics about the products, services, or idea of an organization. As internet services are getting cheaper day by day, net has become more accessible in rural areas, and also government has started using and delivering its services through internet. From birth certificate to driving license, you can apply for any service through the websites. As millions of users surf the internet daily, companies make their website more attractive and informative to increase traffic on their websites. Thus, websites play an important role in two-way communication with the target publics. Another important tool that we use to communicate to external publics is corporate film. All of us know that audio-visual media of communication is always more effective than audio or only visual media, as it carries advantages of both the media. With the advancement of technologies, producing films have become more easier than ever. Corporate films have become important means to communicate corporate's vision, mission, and philosophy to target publics. The purpose of corporate is to introduce a company or business to public the way it wants to depict its company. It may be used to introduce the products or services, creating awareness about the company or demonstrating product uses or production unit of the company to visitors. So corporate films are used nowadays by educational institutions, government and other corporate houses also. Another tool that is used by corporate houses and more so by government nowadays is photo ops. All of us, we know that we have been studying in designing and in other forms of visual communication also, that a picture speaks 1,000 words, says a Chinese proverb. There are moments which can be captured with camera at accurate timing. When published in media, gets attention and gains advantages for the organization. Photo opportunities may be created during the events, meetings, special days, open days, or annual general meetings. If you remember, when Tata Nano was launched in an auto expo, Morning National Dailies carried a 4-column photograph of Ratan Tata coming out of Tata Nano car. The picture was enough to explain readers that although car is nano, means very small, yet it is big enough to get driven by a driver whose height is 6 feet like Ratan Tata. The kind of publicity garnered could not have been by any number of words to explain the advantage of a car at such a low price. So I would like to sum up the tools for external publics. Now, when we have understood the various methods which can be used to reach out to our external publics, being a PR practitioner, it is our decision to choose the most appropriate tool of communication to convey our important policies, issues and products to target publics. Although the decision primarily depends upon the media, budget and the time, the PR practitioner has to be wise enough to use the techniques at their optimal level. To reach external public, particularly media, it is very important to understand the use of press release, press conference, press briefings, press meets, luncheons and press tours. Whereas other tools like printed literature, annual reports, special events, open days, exhibitions, corporate advertising, social media networking sites, websites, corporate films and photo ops, these can be used to convey their messages to the other external publics. So well-designed messages can be used at appropriate time to engage different publics. Although there are many more tools and techniques which can be used to reach out to target and potential publics, yet knowing all these tools from a practitioner's practice, it proves very, very helpful. Thank you.